Hey everyone, it's Steve from stevezanella.com. How are you today? So I've been doing a lot of reading and research as of late about the brain, and it brought me to a question that I've gone back and forth over. And I know that if you suffer from anxiety, or even if you have any other issues where your thoughts kind of get in the way, whether it be procrastination or trying to develop better habits, or knowing that you should do something but just not doing it. The question that keeps running through my brain, of course, that's where questions run, is, do we have control over our thoughts? And what I mean by that is, can we choose what we think? And the answer is yes, and no, and yes. And this is what I mean by that. So essentially, our thoughts are produced in our mind, in our brain, in the physical supercomputer that we house inside of our heads. And our brain is a series of signals and neurons firing and chemicals interacting, and there's a lot of organic machinery at work. And oftentimes our thoughts are byproducts of this machine that runs in our heads. And now, how you treat your body, how you treat your mind, the things that you do in life impact the things that go on in that machine. So in that regard, yes, we have some control over our thinking. On the other side of that is the fact that because these chemicals, because these electrical impulses and neurons fire in a way that is designed to keep us alive on sort of a subconscious survival level, oftentimes we are very unaware that it is this process that's going on that is creating the thought and creating the feeling. So in that instance, we're not necessarily in control of our thinking. Our brain kicks in and fires up and creates thoughts. It has a default mode in some areas that actually is set to constantly think. So when your brain is in this default mode of random monkey mind thinking, how can we truly say that we have control over that? So in that instance, we feel much like, no, we don't have control over our thinking. But then here's the other part of it, and this is the more challenging part, is that we're trying to solve a problem using the same source of that problem, which is our thoughts. And oftentimes, we spend a lot of time thinking about how to solve the problem of thinking. And this is where it kind of gets into that matrix area where we're part of the machine, but we have to become aware that we're part of the machine. You can use your conscious awareness and even use thought to recognize the fact that your thought is being produced. You can become aware of the fact that a thought or emotion is happening that you don't have control over. But in doing so, in recognizing and cultivating your awareness of the arisal of that thought and that emotion, and the acceptance that it is there, whether you feel you have control over it or not, in essence, what you're doing is you're taking back that control. You are developing the ability to experience something that's going on from a non-judgmental place. And that gives you back control over how you feel and process and experience that thought. So in a way, this idea of breaking out of this matrix is not something external. It's something internal. And it's up here. The matrix is here. It's this idea that our thoughts create our lives And we are predetermined or predestined to have this life. Most of us, when we get trapped in this idea that we have no control over our thinking and no control over our creation, we feel like life pushes us around, that life unfolds and we're this sort of unwitting pawn being pushed around the chessboard of life. And in actuality, that is only happening because we are relinquishing our control over what we can't control by accepting and becoming the watcher of these thoughts, by becoming the conscious observer of the things going on in our mind. We, in essence, take back control over something that we have no control over. And I know that this sounds complicated and convoluted and a little bit weird, but try to open up your thinking and your understanding to this concept. The thoughts that we can't control, if we can become aware that they're happening and we can accept the fact that we have no control and let go of the judgment that comes along with this idea that our lives are out of control, let go of the judgment of the idea that we are somehow failing in life or our life sucks and all of these things are happening to us, and why me and woe me and all of that judgment and all of that negativity. If you can accept, this is how I feel right now, and in a little bit I won't feel this way, you release yourself from so much of the baggage, of so much of the habitual negative thinking that goes on. And you gain control over that through awareness. You can take back control of the thing that you have no control over. So I know this is a really kind of, bad pun, but a heady conversation. But I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this because of the research that I've been doing and because of the work that I've been doing on myself. I acknowledge and accept the fact that my brain is processing chemicals and having these reactions based on stimuli from the outside world. And I really only relinquish my control over the situation when I allow myself to not observe what's going on. Because by observing what's going on, by becoming consciously aware of the emotional state that I'm in as I'm entering it, I take back control over that state. I can choose to allow that state to engulf me, and I can choose to stay angry or upset or hurt or frustrated or envious. I can make that choice. And in making that choice, I take back control. And the pressure of feeling like I'm out of control lifts. And that's the benefit of cultivating a mindful, conscious awareness in our everyday life, because it allows us to become the conscious observer of our thoughts and recognize the fact that some of them, as they come in, are happening because of chemical reactions in our brain. Plain and simple. They don't make us bad people. They don't identify us as a certain way simply because of a thought that we're having. You're not a failure because you fail at something. You're not a negative person because you have a negative thought. If you allow yourself to be pulled around and identify yourself as these thoughts, yes, you become these things. You become them because you allow yourself to become them, even if you're unaware that you're allowing that to happen. So my hope from this video is to just kind of wake some of you up to this idea that by consciously being the observer of the thoughts that you're having, you start to take back that control. And your thoughts dictate your emotional state. So if you can better control the thoughts that you're having, or at least become more aware of the thoughts and how they impact your emotional state, you can start to control your emotional state much better. And it's going to change your life, because you're now going to be in a situation where you don't feel like this, you're on this emotional roller coaster where you have no control. You can now start to make those connections between why you're having the thoughts that you're having and how they interact and create the emotional state that you're in. And then when you choose to create a different emotional state, you can then consciously become aware of creating a thought, focusing on that thought, and allowing that emotional state to rise in you from that thought, which is a completely natural response, which is what happens every single day, every single moment. That's how our emotions rise. Something happens, it creates a thought, that thought rises to an emotion, and then we enter an emotional state. But we do this on a subconscious level. We are not consciously aware because we have never been taught how to do that. And I want us to start to wake up and start to recognize that we have this ability, this control. This is how you hack the matrix. This is how you get out of that life where you feel like you're being controlled, that there's something else out there. What's out there is consciousness. Your conscious awareness. That's how you break free. That's how you take back control of something that you don't fully have control over. That's how you become a person who's on a journey, who's enjoying the ride and can take it in for all that it is, for all that it has to offer, because it is such a beautiful ride. And if you can get past the emotional states, if you can get past the fear and the anxiety and the judgment and the critical thinking and the criticism that you put on yourself and that you put on other people, life will open up to you, and it is an amazing thing. And I know this is getting into close to 12 minutes here, so I want to wrap it up. There's so much that I could go on about. There's so much I can talk about, and there's so much that I want to talk about. This is why I started this channel. This is where my journey began for me, breaking free of that emotional prison that I was in and learning to cultivate my awareness, my state of awe. And I want to share that journey with people, and I want to teach you how to do it yourself. I cannot do it for you. No one can do it for you. No amount of books or videos or talks like this are ever going to do it for you. These are seeds. These are directionals. This is a GPS for pushing you in a direction. You have to make the choice to start walking, start moving, start driving, whatever, crawling, whatever it is, start moving in a direction that's going to improve your life. And only you can take that initiative and move forward. And for me, that awakening, that understanding of observing my thoughts as they were coming in was the very first step in my journey. And I hope it can be that first step for someone out there watching this video today. So that's it. It's pretty deep this morning. It's morning for me. Whenever you're listening, deep this evening, whatever. You know, it's just sharing it and putting it out there. So if this resonates with you, do me a favor and share the video, share the link out. I'd love to get to as many people as I can with this message. Hopefully we can share this. We can change some lives, starting with yours. I'm pulling for you. I'm really hoping for everyone out there. Anxiety and fear and stress is so high right now, and I want to see us learn to cultivate compassion and love and kindness, starting with ourselves and then spreading it out through the rest of the world. That's how we make a real impact. That's how we make change. Be the change you want to see in the world. That's it. It's what it's all about. All right, send me an email if you have any questions, steve@stevezanella.com. Write down in the comments what you think of this video. Do you get it? Do you not get it? Let me know what you think. Be conscious of what you think as you're writing it too. All right, that's it for me. I'm out of here. Hope you have an amazing day, and we will talk again soon.